Hello and good morning to all of you. Today I will be discussing some important 5 years plans of India. But before that, I also want to discuss the types of planning. You may have heard the term called centralized planning. You may have also heard the word called decentralized planning, imperative planning, indicative planning, rolling plan also. So, as far as the centralized and decentralized are concerned, so these are very easy to understand if you know the meaning of these. So, I will be discussing this imperative, imperative planning, and the second one is indicative, indicative. So, in indicative planning, what happens that the state plays a role of a referee. There is a term called laissez-faire, means less interference. In the game of cricket, the what is the role of the umpire? Umpire, he himself does not go and start hitting the sixes or boundary. His only role is to manage the game, to tell what is right and what is wrong, not more than that. So this thing happens in indicative planning. The interference of state is very minimal. And this kind of planning can be seen in the countries which have the mixed economy and the capitalist economy. In USA, there is hardly any role of the government in order to decide the economic forces. That's why that economy is also called the liberal one. So in indicative planning, the role of state is very minimal. And just opposite of this indicative planning is imperative planning. It means state decides everything. How the country will be grown and what should be the criteria to have the country from developing to developed, or everything will be decided by the government if any country follows this imperative planning. I want you to know India. India used to be the imperative planning, or you can say India followed this imperative planning till 1990, because in 1991 the LPG reform came, liberalization, privatization, and globalization. Before 1990, most of the things were decided by the government. A term that is called red tapeism. So this interference of the government sometimes enhanced the time period of getting the clearance of anything. That was also one of the reasons behind a very slow growth of Indian economy. But that time the kind of situations were there, that was the decision of the government at that time. But today, or after 1990, the situation of India became different. That's why we started believing in indicative planning. So I hope the difference between the imperative and indicative both are different from each other. If you are understanding any one of them, I would suggest you understand this indicative, where you have to only indicate. You have to tell this or that, like a umpire in the cricket game. and just opposite of it, imperative, where the government interfere happens a lot. The centralized and decentralized I don't want to discuss, as these are already cleared in themselves. One more term is called rolling plan. What is this rolling plan? By the way, what was the time period of this rolling plan? Which plan in India is known as the rolling plan? 4, 5, 6.
80.
Yes?
78, 80.
17, 8 to 80. It was which? It was the 6th. But the time period of 6th was 1978 to 83. If a question comes, the rolling plan is related to which one, and both the options are there, which option will be the most appropriate one? This one. You cannot, although the time period of, because after 1980 the government changed, the Morarji Desai government changed, Indira Gandhi comes once again. So the 6th 5-year plan was related to the rolling plan. Rolling plan, the idea of rolling plan was given by a Swedish economist whose name was yes, G. Myrdal. What was this rolling plan? In this rolling plan, what we were doing, that you can understand it by an example. Look, what happens generally in the 5-year plans? The evaluation of any idea or any goal which you have established was happening after 5 years. That's why these were known as the 5-year plans. What was the target? You have achieved that target. All the things were being finally evaluated after the 5 years. In rolling plan, a big plan was getting divided in a smaller plan, and those smaller plans were getting divided further in a smallest plan. For instance, any students comes to Mukherjee Nagar for his civil services preparation, and what was the big objective of that student is what? I mean, you can simply say somehow to qualify the exam. But let's assume he has a vision that I want to change the whole district. Then he will be requiring at least 15 or 20 years. So the bigger plan is the 20 years. Okay. But that objective to change the image of the district, first he has to qualify the exams. And for that he has to prepare for the civil services. So the big plan is to change the image of the district, but this will be achieved step by step. So that 20 year will be divided in 4 years or 5 years. So you can divide and you can make the 5 portions of that 20 year. What you will do, that further you will divide those 4 portions in one year. In one year. So the bigger one is known as the perspective planning. It is also called the perspective planning. And that one year which you have the smallest segment, it will be evaluated every year. You came for the Mukherjee Nagar and you decided that after 5 years I will qualify, or in 5 years I will qualify this exam. So with respect to the previous plans, you will only evaluate your journey, your strength and weaknesses after 5 years. But having the rolling plan on the backdrop, those 5 years will be evaluated every in one year. First time you gave the first attempt, so you will understand, oh, in polity section my marks were less. So next year what will you do? Next year you will make a strategy to enhance, to improve the marks in the polity section. And if even in the next year you are not performing, then you have to redesign your program again. I want to make you understand that in the rolling plan you can redesign, readjust your plan year by year, which was not possible in case of 5-year plan, because in 5-year plan the evaluation was happening after 5 years. So this is the benefit in case of rolling plan. So the whole 20 years plan can be reduced in 5 years plan or 4 years plan, or whatever is suitable to you, and those 5 or 4 years can further be divided in a small segment 1 year. So through 1 years you will, what the first objective will be to qualify the civil services somehow, and after that the next bigger plan is to change the image of a district. Anyway, if you are not understanding, so you simply need to know that in rolling plan you can divide a big idea into a smaller 1 year plan, and you can evaluate your journey of 1 year. If there is some problem, you can adjust in the further year. This keeps on happening until you achieve your first objective. Once you achieve your first objective, then you have to think for the second one and repeat the same things. Rolling plan, as I have told you, that 1978 to 83, the idea was given by the G. Myrdal, a Swedish economist. So as I am discussing about the 5-year plans, so some important 5 years plans are there, and the very first one is 1951 to 56. In 1951 to 56, by the way, which is the body which takes care these 5-year plans? The Planning Commission of India, which now has been changed, redressed as Niti Aayog. The Planning Commission was what kind of body? Constitutional, statutory, or a different one?
Statutory.
It was not a statutory body.
नहीं संविधान इतना है.
Yes, because the Planning Commission of India was made through a resolution. Statutory bodies are those bodies which are made through the act of the Parliament of India. Like SEBI. There is a SEBI Act. What about RBI? What kind of institution RBI is?
वो भी statutory.
So, yes, so any body which is passed through the Parliament of India and there is an act of that thing, that will be statutory. There is no any act. You have never heard that Planning Commission Act this or that, 1973 or whatever. No. And the constitutional bodies are those bodies which are given in the Constitution of India, like the Supreme Court and many more. So this was a body which was brought through a resolution and which takes care of the 5-year plans. There is also one institute that is called National Development
Corporation.
NDC, which was brought on 6th of August 1952. it is the final authority or institute which gives a green signal to the ideas presented by the Planning Commission of India. So first a 5-year plan 1951 to 56. This time India was a newborn baby, because in 1947 we had got the freedom. Therefore we had to start everything from the scratch. And you know, the first priority for any individual which had just taken his or her birth, what that is the food. So that's why in the first
कृषि
one, we give emphasis to the agriculture, and whatever target we had decided, our growth was more than that.
2.1
Yes, it was 2.1 and our achievement was 3.6. Anyway, those are the factual things. We only need to know the trend. So whatever we decided, we achieved more than that. Okay, agriculture was our preference.
2.1
Okay, agriculture was our preference, and this 1951-56, this first 5-year plan was based upon the model of which one?
Herald Domer.
Yes, Harold Domer. This was the model through which the first 5-year plan was designed. And agriculture was the main concern, as India was a newborn baby. The second 5-year plan, that is 1956 to 1961. This was, I would say, just opposite to the agriculture.
तो
In this one, we give emphasis to the industry. Industrialization was our main target, and this 5-year plan was based on the model called Nehru Mahalanobis. Nehru Mahalanobis. And the third 5-year plan, which is 1961 to 66. This was based on which model?
सुखमय चक्रवर्ती.
Yes, it was based upon the Sukhmay Chakravarti model. This is also known as the Gadgil formula. Gadgil was the vice chairman of the Planning Commission of India that time. That's why this third 5-year plan is also called the Gadgil plan or the Gadgil formula. Sukhmay Chakravarti is also the term which is used to indicate the third 5-year plan. In this third 5-year plan, so many things happen. For instance, yes, the main thing is this: the objective. In the first one, agriculture was our priority. In the second, industrialization was our priority. And in the third, India wanted to be the self-reliant. And we know no any country can be self-reliant as long as the agriculture and industry, they are developing together. So that's why in the third plan, the objective was the fusion of agriculture plus industry. Both these sectors were decided to be developed with their maximum potential. Apart from this, in the third five-year plan, the idea of UTI, Unit Trust of India, one of the oldest organization related to the mutual fund. 1963 was brought. In 1964, one more institution, that is IDBI, Industrial Development Bank of India, it was also brought. IDBI 1964. These are all things for the people who say nothing has happened in the last 75 years. Everything started happening. So IDBI 1964. One more thing happens, that is the Food Corporation of India 1965, FCI. This was also born in 1965. After that, the fourth five-year plan is as far as concerned, that is which the time period is 19, but
69.
yes, 1969 to 74. Why it is so? Because the third term was the most challenging term for India. Because in 1962, China attacks over India. After that, in 1965, Pakistan attacked over India. And these two wars, it is said that one war can push back any country as many as 50 years. So India had to face two wars at that time. That's why this was not a very successful plan, due to the war of China and due to the war of Pakistan. So that's why there were 3 years, those are known as the planned holidays. Those are 1966 to 69. This is the time of planned holidays. But it does not mean in these holidays nothing was done. Something was also done. Any idea what was the thing which was done in this period, 1966 to
Green Revolution.
yes, Green Revolution. Green Revolution happens. And one more thing. Green Revolution. It was because during the war we realized that the population is growing. We are not getting the help from our allies countries. The kind of help is required. That's why we thought that this Green Revolution is important, because first of all we need to have our people alive, because everything starts once your stomach is fulfilled. Tulsidas once told, "Bhookhe pet na hoye Gopala." The establishment of RAW, Research and Analysis Wing, in 1968. 1968. A foreign intelligence agency of India. Salman Khan also made a movie. So this was also founded because Pakistan and China war happened, and it was the necessity of India to have the institutions like this, so that we could get some knowledge or the speculation of the coming situations. 1969 to 74. In this time period, what happens? The family planning was done during this time period. Okay. After that, the 14 banks were nationalized. 14 banks were nationalized in 1969. And one more thing happens. By the way, so many things happen, but I'm only telling the important one. That is the abolition of privy purse. Abolition of privy purse in 1971. This was done through a constitutional amendment, that is 26th Constitutional Amendment 1971. And as far as this privy purse is concerned, so it was a sort of payment to the erstwhile rulers who agreed to be the part of India after 1947. So until this act was brought, these erstwhile rulers, the Rajas and Maharajas, they were being paid a certain amount of money by the government of India. But through the 26th Constitutional Amendment 1971, this kind of facility was completely seized, which was very difficult at that time, but India took very tough decisions. And the next is the plan, that is 74 to 79. So in this 74 to 79, the thing which is known as the black spot on the Indian democracy, that is called the emergency, was brought. But in this emergency, one more thing was done, and that is there was a slogan, Indra Hatao Desh Bachao. And against this slogan, Indira Gandhi gave a slogan, Garibi Hatao Desh Bachao. So this slogan, Garibi Hatao, removed the poverty, which has been asked, I think, maximum number of times by the various commissions, if the question is related to the 5-year plans. That was related to the 5-year plan or 5th 5-year plan, 1974 to 1979. So as it was the era of emergency, so many changes happened in the government, the coming of Morarji Desai and all those things which happened, I will be discussing in my next lecture. Namaskar.